think that one should forget one's history. It's well to say that these events took place so many years ago and we should forget about them now, but you can't forget about events like
a whole new world.
Well, I don't want to belong to a crowd of people who look exactly the same, so I want to be different.
What do we want?
We've got to be a future, but it's not for us, not for young uns.
Children who need to be able to express themselves in clear English are being taught political slogans.
No! We're involved in a mental fight, not a physical fight.
And we want our rights!
Brixton was invaded by reporters and cameras.
Do you blend in with the crowd, but stand out?
Controversial Clause 28 of the local government bill.
The government is to ban the promotion of homosexuality in schools.
Children who need to be taught to respect traditional moral values are being taught that they have an inalienable right to be gay.
The protesters said Clause 28 was an attack not only on themselves, but also on human rights.
Belonging? I didn't really belong anywhere. And yeah, that made me feel very alone. It was like everyone was good at pretending to know who they were. I was lost with that. Even at home, growing up, I was on the outside looking in. Home. That word still gets me. In my 20s, everyone around me started pairing off, eventually having kids. There's something beautiful about it all. I always wanted to be a parent. And I know I could be a good parent, but I could never really envision that for myself. Back then, it just didn't feel like an option. So a few years back, I was babysitting for a friend, and this little urchin knocked over their vanilla yogurt on my rug, my freaking new rug. They looked up at me, straight in the eyes. You know those puppy dog eyes kids have. And they just started giggling. I was bizarrely enthralled. Something kind of kicked me, and I said to myself, I have to be a parent. I wanted to adopt. There are children who are waiting for parents to look after them, and I can be that parent. So I did my research and dove straight into the adoption process. Meetings, and parenting classes, and psychological exams, and medical checkups, and family history and whatnot. Thinking about it now, it seems like this surreal and intense dream I had. The hardest part is the inner work you need to do. The self-examination, the self-doubt, the stress and the fear. The fear that even after all of this, you might never have a child of your own. Over the sort of 18 months, everyone who had gone through the process alongside me was matched with children. And they left as families. I was considered as a potential adopter a few times, but it never went through. It broke my heart each time. I mean, how could it not? I was so invested. For me, it was just rejection after rejection. I was devastated. The next summer, one of the social workers told me about a child. Hey there, so we think we have a child that might be a really good match for you. We'd love for you to come in and talk. Their name is Ollie, so sweet. And actually, Ollie is gender questioning. I went to this so-called bump into meeting where I met Ollie just like in a park as just sort of a friend of the foster family. Yeah, I was nervous, but when Ollie came bundling over at 100 miles an hour, I was totally disarmed. I felt an instant sense of connection. 3 weeks later, we went to the panel. Panel said, yes, you are the right parent for this child. I cried. You go from not knowing each other to being a family within the space of like less than a month, and it is, yeah, so incredible. I'm transgender, a non-binary trans person, so I don't neatly identify as a man or a woman. When I was Ollie's age, I was also confused about my gender, and there was no one around that knew what I was going through. Gender questioning kids can have a really, really difficult experience growing up. I am so glad that I'm able to protect my child from that.
So it's amazing to think that Section 28 is 30 years old today. The now repealed clause...
But campaigners say it. People shouldn't be made to jump through hoops to be recognised for who they are.
Maybe being a bit more ambiguous about gender.
If it's on a spectrum and there's men on this side and women on this side, I'm just kind of running back and forth all day long, every day.
Trans rights are human rights. Non-binary is valid.
Everyone has a bit of a spectrum, and actually bodies and gender aren't as integral to your mindset as people think they are.
My son was beaten up at school. He did nothing to provoke it, except for being trans.
If you were going to sum it up, it would be, I don't know the answer, but why are you asking the question?